Under the cover of night, 7 men, clad in black armor with large silver helmets of glowing red eyes, members of a unique fighting force within the world government. They were known as the Black Manta Corps. The Black Manta Corps served a particular purpose to the world government and to the Marines. Of course, there were different branches. I'm sure you're aware of the series of CP, CP1 to CP8, along with the titular CP9 and CP0, all forms of espionage and undercover work, but the Black Manta Corps served in a different purpose. They were the assassination squad of the world government. They were fully licensed pirates. Sure, there were the warlords, but they were more for show than anything else. Just would-be pirates keeping other would-be pirates in line. But no, the Black Manta Corps served as the true adventurers of the world government. If there was a relic or an item that they wanted found, the Black Manta Corps was sent to get it. If there was a person or thing that had to be brought in specifically to them, they were assigned to get it. When the Black Manta Corps was called in, it meant anyone else was to stay out of their way. And they always got the job done, even now. Of the highest of cargoes that they could receive, capturing Atlanteans in this day and age, that was a true prize. However, they were being watched in the shadowy sand dunes of Alabasta. As the crew were making their way, holding both Volko and Luffy shackled on their shoulders. From underground, the multitude of hands would begin to reach out towards them. The leader of the group would find themselves under attack and would tell his men to stand guard, his son following close behind as they readied themselves, not knowing where the enemy was going to strike. They felt multiple arms reaching around their legs as they started being pulled into the ground. In the midst of the chaos and the attacking, Luffy and Volko would be dropped, and the hands would reach for them as well. Dragging their bodies through the night's sand, the Black Manta Corps would reach for the cargo that was being taken from them, only for Luffy and Volko to disappear into what appeared to be quicksand. A few of the soldiers would follow in soon after. And out of the 4 that went in, only 1 would come back up. Shit! We've been had! But by who? Do you think it was a member of the Straw Hats? It doesn't matter. Our targets. We were supposed to bring them in. They're of high quality, son. So what do we do now? If they're being taken, they're likely going to rendezvous back with their crew in Alabasta. That's where we set our sights. I want you to send a message back to the ship. I want you to let them know of the situation to be on standby. And if they are to intercept with Captain Smoker, they are to keep him from engaging with the rebels at Alabasta until we arrive. No Marines are to set foot in Alabasta until we get our hands on the targets. If anyone gets in our way, we wipe them out. Understood? Yes, sir. Move out! The Black Manta Corps would now be racing to undo the massive damage that had been done, to retrieve Luffy and Volko by any means. But as for our Atlantean duo, the pair were dragged through the bottomless quicksand and eventually brought up on another side. They were gasping for air and they had barely managed to hold on. As they fought to fight free of their restraints, they watched as multiple hands would appear from around them, freeing them of their shackles. Now, you two might want to hold still. I'm not a doctor after all. The sounds of screaming and wailing would fill through the desert as the bullets were removed from their bodies. They were mostly ordinary bullets, but they had been infused with sea prism stone, one of the few materials that were strong enough to pierce through the skin of an Atlantean. So it's true. You really are Atlantean, the voice of the woman said. They turned to see who it was that had freed them, and it was none other than Miss All-Sunday, the woman who had been working closely with Crocodile and the members of Baroque Works, and who back at Whiskey Peak offered Luffy the eternal log pose, only for him to have turned it down. Luffy was ready to grab his trident, but Vulko stopped him. I don't think she's an enemy, Luffy. She wouldn't go through the trouble of saving us if she was just going to kill us later. Very perceptive. And you're right. I'm not your enemy. But I take it you saved us for a reason? I did. So Crocodile, I take it your partnership isn't as rock solid? I work with people who serve my interests. And when those interests are no longer a common interest, I look out for my own. Crocodile is no different. It doesn't mean that I have anything against the man personally, but it's just that I really don't need him to succeed in what he's doing. And what exactly is he trying to do? Well, you're an informative man. He wishes to get his hands on a poneglyph. A what? Vulko said. A poneglyph? Here? In Alabasta? I take it you're familiar with them. Of course I am. Then you are indeed a rare treasure in this world. A man from the old times who not only knows of the poneglyphs, but I assume you can read them just as well. Unfortunately so. What's a poneglyph? Luffy would ask. It's a tablet, Luffy. An ancient tablet with writing from the old times. They're a great treasure in the world. So much so that the world government has outlawed even trying to read or decipher one. There are very few in the world that can, and to the ones that do, they're considered extra dangerous. Unlike you or I, who are able to read them naturally with our own eyes, because the writing has been hardwired into our DNA. Those who are able to decipher a poneglyph and are not of the Atlantean descent, they're extra dangerous. And we are in the presence of one. Miss Nico Robin. So my name precedes me, even to the likes of an Atlantean. Ever since the destruction of O'Hara, your bounty has been great and plentiful throughout the world. There isn't a hunter alive that hasn't tried to bring you in. With any other marine, they've been desperate to find you. I'm very aware. My reputation precedes me. But why did you help us? Luffy would ask. It's simple. I don't want Crocodile to get his hands on the poneglyph, or to the knowledge of what it possesses. Whatever he's after, here in Alabasta, I want to stop it. I see. So you're not the devil child that they make you out. You can't believe everything you see in the papers, now can you? Nico Robin said to Vulko. Not too far off, a large bird would fly towards them, before transforming into a man. He introduced himself as Pell. He was a member of the Royal Guard and a servant of Vivi. These men will need your assistance. You will need to escort them to Alabasta as soon as possible. Why them? These are the good men who have been protecting your princess, Vivi Nafotari. It's because of their good graces that they have allowed her to return home safe, and have kept her protected from the likes of Crocodile. You'll need to hurry. I imagine he will be on his way to assassinate her as we speak, along with what remains of Baroque works. We know he plans on leading a civil war here, Volko said. Not just that. The rebels are already making their move to Alabasta now. They will most likely engage with the Royal Army. And it's not just that. In the plaza, in the public square of the palace, he plans on unleashing a bomb in the clock tower. A what? Pell said. A bomb. A massive one, too. The number of lives that it'll take? Well, it'll make him look all the more good when he kills off your king, Cobra. Taking credit for disposing of the dictator. It's a classic power move. The people will be grateful and he'll have Alabasta in the palm of his hands. We need to get to the others as soon as possible, Luffy said. And what about you? I still have my role to play as Miss All-Sunday. It would be wise if we not interact so publicly, lest we want our covers to be blown. From there, the two sides would go their separate ways, as they made their way to the capital of Alabasta, home of the royal family Alabasta. In the meantime, the Straw Hats will have arrived a few hours earlier. As the morning sun began to rise over the kingdom, the rebels would begin to lead their final charge in the attack against the royal palace. With the royal army battling against the rebels within the streets, the members of Baroque Works would wait at the palace gates, noting that whenever Vivi Nefeltari were to arrive, she were to be taken out. However, the Straw Hats were clever and they made sure to cloak themselves, moving about in different directions to throw them off guard. Just as in the original timeline, the Straw Hats would break up into individual fights against the various members of Baroque Works. Sanji would engage with Bon Clay. Nami, using her newly made climb attack, would engage with Miss Doublefinger. Zoro would face Mr. One, and Usopp and Chopper would face off against Mr. Four and Mrs. Merry Christmas. This would leave Ace along with Vivi, as he would escort her to the palace, as Vivi hoped to get the attention of the royal army. But as they arrived, they would be intercepted by Crocodile. The army, who was now realizing what was happening near the entranceway, would attempt to stop as they saw Vivi in danger. But unlike in the original timeline, there would now be a shift, with Fire Fist Ace by her side, and, being distraught at the potential capture and death of his brother and mentor in Luffy and Volko, a newly found flame would light inside of him, as Fire Fist Ace would engage with Crocodile, the Mera Mera no Mi, the Suna Suna no Mi, Fire and Sand. A barrage of the two Logia elements would collide as Vivi was protected by Ace as they continued in their fight. Meanwhile, Miss All-Sunday would intercept with Cobra, who had been intending on surrendering, but would now be leveled into the truth, as she would be escorted by Cobra, although at gunpoint, to where the poneglyph was. The poneglyph would contain the secret of the location of the ancient weapon known as Pluton, which was said to be buried in Alabasta. In the meantime, fighting would continue on in the public squares, the rebels being provoked by the royal army and vice versa, both sides battling for control of Alabasta, for what few resources now remained, for the safety and prosperity of its country. Meanwhile, Ace, in his flaming anger, battled against Crocodile. The two seemed to be evenly matched, although Crocodile held more experience, and for a brief moment was able to get the better of Ace, managing to slash him with the poisoned blade of his left-handed hook, Ace would have to go on the defensive using his flames, and Vivi, she would be knocked off the wall in the process, with Crocodile believing that she would fall to her death. But thankfully, she would be saved at the last moment. Pell would come flying in, swooping her through the skies, as he and Vivi would race towards the center plaza of Alabasta to find where the bomb was and to hopefully remove it before any lives could be lost, any more than had already been shed, and any more damage to the country that was already done. Crocodile was so close to his plan, the plan of dividing the country of Alabasta in half. But he didn't come alone. For just as when Crocodile was about to attack, two Tritons crossed in an X would catch hold of his hook as he would be kicked back. What the hell? How are you two still alive? I could have sworn the Black Mantas pulled you off. Yeah, they did. But thankfully we had a little help. I bet. So, it was her, wasn't it? Huh? You know, the Devil Child. So he's even aware of that, Volko said. You're not going to get away with the evil that you've committed here, Crocodile. Evil? And how am I evil? I'm just a pirate, right? A no good, dirty, stinking pirate. No different than you. You fly the Jolly Roger just as proudly as me. You're right, Luffy would say. In the end, we are pirates. But pirates should have a code of honor. That's something you never had, Crocodile. I don't need to use others, use my crew, step on people to get what I want. In case you forgot, that's the definition of a pirate, kid. That's the definition of a coward and a weakling. And that's what I'll never be. Yeah, enough with the hero talk. I think you got it wrong. I'm no one's hero, Luffy would say. But you do get to have a great privilege. After I kick your ass, you can tell everyone that the next king of the pirates is the one that puts you 6 feet under. The next king of the pirates? Oh boy. Looks like we got a dreamer on our hands. A dreamer that loves to tell jokes. You think you're the first one to ever come into the Grand Line, kid? You think you're the first one who's talked a big game about being king of the pirates? I met a lot of people in my day. A lot of people bigger, tougher, and stronger than you. All of them had big dreams of being the king of the pirates. And all of their dreams are buried in the sea, long forgotten, resting with the dead. I told you once, and I'll say it again. Alabasta, it's desert. It's just one big graveyard with no tombstone. This is where your story ends. But I hope they remember you. The only thing that ends here is you. Enough talk, Luffy, Volko would say. We're going to end this here and now. Prepare yourself, Crocodile, because now you will experience the true power of an Atlantean, and you will learn just how outclassed you really are. Luffy and Volko readied their tritons, Ace standing behind them, firing up his fist with flame. as Crocodile absorbed as much sand around him as possible. The final battle in Alabasta was now set to begin. The future of the country and its people, and a power long since forgotten, but one of destruction and horrors, could soon be unleashed. Everything hung in the balance as the sun raised high over the sky. The countdown to the end had now begun. This concludes One Piece King of the Sea, What If Luffy Was Aquaman, Season 2, Part 7. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned tomorrow evening as we continue with One Piece King of the Sea, What If Luffy Was Aquaman, Season 2, Part 8. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.